Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. So, one thing that I want to speak about today is what to do when you feel disconnected from the divine, and especially if this happens to you in the form of an attack, a psychic attack, or somebody had asked in the comments, or you feel very disconnected from your twin flame, from your guides. This was also a question that had come in earlier, that you feel disconnected from your twin flame and also from your spirit guides. So we are always eternally one with the divine. We never have to forget that. Our consciousness is something that literally emerges from the divine, and within itself it holds the complete potential of the divine. Why we disconnect from the divine so often is because, number one, of course, we enter this matrix world, and the world becomes. There's a poem, by I think William Wordsworth. He said, "The world is too much with us." And this is literally, what happens. And you can go read the poem now. I don't remember it from so many years ago. It was something along the lines of how the world and the noises of the world and the communications of the world, that was weighing him down. And how do you find divinity? In this poem, he found it in nature, I think. So, this is, what happens. The inner desire that the being has is always to stay rooted in God. Because when you stay connected with the divine, you feel a certain peace, you feel safety, you feel excitement, you feel confidence, and you are flowing in the flow of the love of God. And that is the vibration, because you're emanating that vibration. That is the vibration that is also meeting you from the outside. The problem is that we start associating with the world and we start to get disconnected from the divine. Another problem we have is we are too much in the mind. I always have to think to decide my experience. Like, if I am just sitting in nature, I have to kind of qualify the nature with words, with adjectives to feel into the nature. I have to say it is beautiful, it is green, it is this, it is that. You have to use the mind to just be, to just experience something. And unfortunately, that is also the nature of religion. Very often, all religions have this. Um, it's not by purpose that this is happening, but this has become the unfortunate way in which we relate to the divine through words and through kind of like doing things, to the action of connecting, the rituals, you might say, or all of that. While they help us, the purpose is that you have to be able to carry that divine consciousness within you at all points of times, because that is who you are. Now, many times, it is explained by realized beings that this name of the divine, this realization of the divine, this connection with the divine is something that you have to perpetually remember. So many enlightened beings would stress on this. Paramhansa Yogananda, for instance, has said that you must always think of God. This seems very extreme when you come across it. How can I always think of God? But when you feel disconnected, this is the first thing you should do, is reconnect with God. Now, how do you do that? Sometimes if you're under a psychic attack or you're under some negative forces and you've allowed those forces to kind of be very heavy, sit very heavily on with you, the first and the foremost thing is go in solitude. Stop spending time with other people who are only going to trigger you more and more. And the second thing is, after you have come in some form of a solitude where you will not be disturbed, naturally now you can invite in the divine, and the divine can speak to you in your solitude. Another thing is that if there are energy, blocks in our aura, then what we have to do is we have to take cold showers, because they work wonderfully to remove anything that is stuck to you, that is energetically draining you, blocking you. Simply, it's just such a simple cleanse, but it is very powerful to take a full bodied cold shower, including always wetting the top of your head. um, if you do that, you can do that twice a day, or something like that. You can light an oil lamp in your room to create a kind of an ambience, and you can play a chant. It can be any chant that is consecrated, it is powerful. The words are beyond the meaning, the sound itself has an impact, right? Like the frequencies that you listen to, solfeggio frequencies, or 432 hertz and all of that, you all come across that. That is a coming from a deeper wisdom of mantras, of the sound, because the sound that we utter also has a frequency. So if it is correctly pronounced and certain words are pronounced in a certain way, they have an effect which bypasses the mind. So the word itself, the meaning of the word is not significant, but the vibration that it creates by its utterance is what is significant. So these are called mantras, these are called chants. Whatever you feel gravitated towards, you can play. Now, herein, if you're open-minded, there are several, simple sounds that you can just play in the background. There is Om Namah Shivaya that you can play in the background. There is a simple sound of Shambho that is very powerful. These are the sounds that I have always gravitated towards. But they can come in from any place. It can just be something very simple. It can be something simple as like Ram, just being in the background. That can be soothing for some of you. It just depends. It has to bypass the mind. Um, and Om itself is a powerful sound. And you can look into some Vedic mantras that you can let them play in the background. You do not have to pronounce them until you have learnt from somebody who is a Sanskrit teacher how to pronounce them. If I have not learnt a chant, though my first language is Hindi and I actually studied Sanskrit in school, I will not pronounce it even now, because mispronouncing the sound not only takes away the benefit, but it also can have a different effect on you which you don't want. Okay. So, this is incredibly important. Whatever sound you gravitate towards, it can be simple mantras, simple chants. You can listen to the Tara mantra, you can listen to, there are so many Tara mantras, green Tara mantra, and others. You can connect with the divine feminine goddesses. If you relate with Kuan Yin, for instance, they don't necessarily only have to be from India. They are all basically the same. And any other kind of divine beings that you connect with, you must connect with them, and you must play the sounds of those divine beings, in the background. So, one more thing is that you must allow these sounds to come in you. Like in the past, if I have been triggered, if I have been upset, if the mind has gone overboard with overthinking, with overanalyzing, then a simple sound like Shambho has brought me back to myself. It is very powerful. Why were these sounds even discovered? They were not invented, they were literally the discovery, because, they are representative of the true nature of us as human beings, the true nature of life. Because one is aware of the fact that The mind is like that. The mind can go into overthinking, and any kind of a psychic energy attack or whatever is prominent if you are very identified with the mind. If I only am a being of the mind, when I only relate to life through my mind, and I have not rooted myself in my consciousness, which absolutely has nothing to do with the mind. Some of you are confused here sometimes. So think of it in simple terms. When you die, you say the soul is exiting the body. The body and the brain are remaining here, right? So that soul is who you are. Can you connect and be in that soul consciousness even when you are alive? Which means to not relate with the body and the mind. Even when you're alive, you can, right? After all, overthinking is just basically your brain firing neurons, nothing else. And you're identifying with the brain a lot more than Sadhguru explains, than you are identifying with the kidneys or the lungs or the digestive system, which is also functioning right now. It's also functioning, but the brain is also similarly functioning, but the being has identified with the thoughts, thinking the thoughts to be true. In this state, psychic attacks, you're more vulnerable to those. You're more vulnerable to other entities and to black magic and to negative stuff because you're giving it power over you. So, a simple practice can be this: taking a cold shower, retreating into solitude, going into complete nature, um, and just being by yourself and allowing these sounds to work through you, lighting an oil lamp, which cleanses, the energy. You can light an incense, you can light a sambrani, you can light a dhoop in your room. Those things really, really have a powerful effect in terms of elevating your environment. And go to, a powerful spiritual place. Go to a church, go to a mosque, go to a temple, wherever you feel called to, wherever you are relating with the divine, in wherever your heart calls you. A gurdwara can be any. Just be there for some time. If there are a few of these places you want to explore, do that over some time, over a few days. Make this a priority that I want to connect with the divine. Like Paramahansa said, think of God all the time, right? He's obviously telling that to somebody who may not be going through a spiritual awakening like you. So he has to say, think of God, because for people not going through an awakening or not having an experience beyond the thought is, like an entry point to enter the consciousness, but it is not the consciousness itself. So, connecting with the divine, first of all, know that I can connect with the divine because I am divine. So, you have become disconnected from the divine and you have started to identify yourself with the thoughts and, the energy of the thoughts getting worsened by psychic attacks or other things, other attacks, other energies that, you feel are impacting you. That is the falsehood of your being. Like, connection with God, connection with divinity is the truth of your being, and connection with your thoughts and the psychic energy and all of that extra stuff is the falsehood of your being. So you are just restoring yourself back to your truth. First of all, we have to remember that divine is not some destination which is far from us. Divine is who we are. The other things are the misidentifications we have that we have to disconnect from. You have to unpair from those things, like how you unpair your Bluetooth um headphones to like your phone. It's that. Just unpair to the thoughts, to the mind, to all that energy of overthinking. Overthinking and psychic attacks and other things will not impact you if your consciousness is where you're present, if you are operating in the self awareness, the moment to moment life, that this is me in the present moment. I'm rooted in this consciousness. Things are happening outside of me, and maybe thoughts are coming inside of me, but I am rooted in this awareness. As a twin flame, you have a gift of, eventually, when you ascend, you will have more and more of your moments, your time spent in the present moment awareness, when your energy is balanced, when both energies are awakened within you. So, this is where you're headed anyway. So, you don't have to worry. What you can simply do is, of course, like I said, do all of these things. Also, meditate. Learn a meditation practice that you can always come back to. Like when you are in very heavy energies and you can't think straight, there should be something you can run back to. It should be the divine, but there should be a method in which you're able to always, in a foolproof way, connect with the divine. This can be your meditation practice. So, for me, this has been my inner engineering practice that I have also spoken of before, that I've been doing since 2016. And yeah, if you just return to that practice, nothing happens. You're back to being you. Oh, okay, I was misidentified with the heavy thought processes that were not me, and now I'm back to being me. Especially when you go through heavy energies, uh, investment of your time and energy into these practices is like a build up against the heavy storms, the gusts and the storms of life, like the attacks or whatever, the overthinking, the karmic situations, and that lead you to go into overthinking, the negative spiral of thought that you go into, which is the nature of the ego. So there should be an investment in something. If I have spent so much of my time investing in heavy thinking, thought, bad emotions, and painful memories that I'm not able to get out of, that I'm not able to, resolve or learn my lessons from, and just, that's it, like let them go, um, then I've spent so much of my time and energy there. Obviously, where I have spent my time and energy, that is going to grow into a tree. But if I also take out some time every day, an hour every day, or half an hour every day, or some time every day to invest into divine consciousness in some way or form, then that is my investment. That is also where my energy can flow now, you know, especially when situations become hard. That is my sanctuary. I can go back to the sanctuary. These are very profound things that I'm sharing with you, that that is why there is so much of a stress on meditation. And this is not an easy journey, because you tend to spiral into overthinking, especially with the triggers you have, with the long separations or the uncertainty. The mind is trying to make a lot of sense of the journey through the mind, and the ego becomes very active. Of course, the ego is also resisting its own death in the journey, and it can keep you very trapped in negative thought patterns, negative cycles. You can develop extra attachments. The ego doesn't like to detach. The ego likes to go in circles. Why does it like to do that? It is the you know the undercurrent of ego is your karmic cycles. Do you know how karma is basically manifesting in the life? It is manifesting through memory. It is manifesting through the memory of the body, of the mind, of the energies. And do you know what sadhana, meditation, these practices do to us, yoga, etc.? They challenge this memory. When you say be in present moment, like Eckhart Tolle will say this, it is challenging the memory which is used to not being in the present moment. When you're doing yoga, it is challenging the memory of the body to always be in a certain way. Through yoga, you're challenging this memory and giving the body a new rewiring, a conscious rewiring, meaning that the next day also, if I'm doing yoga, it should be more conscious. I don't have to repeat my poses mindlessly. In every posture, I have to hold mindfulness, right? So when I am going into the divine to do my practices, or I'm being in nature, I am being rewired. I'm letting go of that karmic memory, which always will go in loops, which always will go in cycles. And this is why the solution to my overthinking is not positive thinking. I'm not going to cut thinking through more thinking. Okay. Increasingly, I would love to speak about divine consciousness, meditation, spirituality, spiritual awakenings, and how to stay in that present moment awareness, how to be in your state of consciousness, because this is where your journey is going to is leading you towards. Actually, you're never apart from your twin flame. The whole separation paradigm is just what the mind has created, right? You are gifted this journey so that that edification of yourself can happen, that purification of that consciousness can happen within you. So let's focus on that purification of the consciousness, knowing you're more powerful than your thoughts because you are divine consciousness yourself. So follow these few things if you want to. If you need more support, you need more guidance, of course you can connect with me one on one. If you are willing to uh, follow what I share and you're receptive to what I share, only then, because what I offer is not validation based guidance, or it's not therapy, it's not mind based work. We are transcending the mind. We're not doing like, I'm not a soundboard for your thoughts. um, it's different to be a spiritual coach than to be a coach which is working at the level of the mind. So if you are receptive to receiving that spiritual guidance that will intuitively flow from me to you, then you can connect with me. Okay, sending you lots of love. I hope that it helped you. To sum up, just go in nature, be in solitude, play some chant, elevate the environment by using incense and lighting an oil lamp. Go to powerful spiritual places, and start a meditation routine. If there is nothing that you do, there is no meditation routine, a simple practice that I can recommend on YouTube is called Isha Kriya. Do it regularly every day to see the benefits of disconnecting with the mind. And always, like Paramahansa said, connect with God, think about God all the time, read spiritual texts, ask your spirit guides, even if you think they aren't listening to me. Ask them, they're always listening, right? The unpairing has happened, but you can always pair back with them, right? So ask them to support you, to show you the texts that will help you. Maybe those will come to you in your social media in the form of videos, in the form of content on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, whatever. And that itself sometimes is enough to rewire you, to set you free, and disconnect from people who are triggering you. That is important, because sometimes this kind of a negative energy can reach you through these people, and it is important that you just disconnect for some time till you are able to get your bearing back, and then you're able to see how you decide to move ahead with these people in your life who might be triggering you more. You're never disconnected from your twin flame, because your twin flame is you. So there is something you have to remember. There are guided meditations on YouTube to connect with your spirit guides, to connect with your twin flame. You can also try those. Those are also powerful, those are also useful. Okay. So, yeah, I hope it helped you. Take care.